Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video. So a few of you out there may be wondering what the hell has happened to Saturday morning nostalgia. Or maybe you're not. I think originally someone had commented a month or so ago about it, and I foolishly suggested that it would be returning in September or roundabouts then. The logic behind that is that I would have come back from holiday, and there was a gap between then and the release of whatever they're calling the new Ravnica set, Guilds of Ravnica, or Return to Ravnica, and that was a good time to do this. However, what's happened is I did do a dry run and I'd done some prep work and then some more when I came back, and I had that unfortunate feeling you sometimes get when you're involved with creating anything of, I don't know if I'm into this that much. I'm not talking about Magic, I'm talking about the series. And when you're doing something called Saturday morning nostalgia and you're not really personally that nostalgic about it, it's actually quite difficult to get motivated. And so I planned out the first one and then thought, I've now committed to another 3 of these. And maybe it's worth just putting it completely to one side for the moment, being really honest about that with the viewers and offering something else, which I think is going to be much more interesting for both you and me. And it's real easy to do. And it's almost self-motivating, because if you're anything like me, you just love opening stuff. So we're going to put Saturday morning nostalgia to one side for could be quite a while, maybe just until a point of when I get a bit more nostalgic about the Theros block, because at this point in time I was only planning on doing 2 more, because any more would have been too up to date. So it was going to be the Theros block and the the Tarkir block. The funny thing about those 2 blocks is, I don't know why, but I don't have that much, memory's the right word, but recollection. And I think the problem is that at that point I transitioned over to MTGO and was playing a few different formats, and I just can't remember enough about that, and I'm not sure why. I was looking at the boxes and I did realise that I hadn't opened that much product. I wasn't opening any intro decks, so I didn't off the top of my head have a real feel for certain archetypes that might be there, and so that wasn't helping. The preparation work itself, the videos take about an hour to shoot. I tend not to edit them. I don't think I've ever edited them actually, but I do sometimes have to reshoot a video, and I literally do it in one take. But to get to that point, you can understand that there's quite a bit of prep work, and that can take, depending on whether anything's pre-sorted and where the product is currently in one of the boxes, can take anything from half an hour to 2 hours to actually do that. So all of those things together, without trying to bore you too much, is what has sort of contributed to me sort of losing interest in this. So until I get interest back in that, that's not something I really want to be shooting at the moment. And I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed, but hopefully what we're going to get out of this is something else nostalgic. So I have in front of me some champions of Kamigawa. So let me just explain a little bit about these and where they've come from. So way back when I first started the channel in 2010, we would have had, so it was when I first came to Canada. Anybody that's been watching the channel from way back will know the first magic product I ever opened would have been 10th edition. So that's not M10, that's 10th edition, the packs with 10th edition and an X on, I think, on the packets. Then I had a little bit of a break and got back in, so 2010, that would have been, so World Wake would have just come out. Yeah, we'd had a World Wake and then Rise of the Eldrazi and then a Corset. So at that point, what I was doing, I think, in the channel, on albeit a much less high quality camcorder, I was opening random packs, some of which were stuff that had just come out, so Rise of the Eldrazi probably. I hadn't quite got back into opening fat packs, I don't think, until the release of the next core set. But yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint. I mean, I can probably look down here. Actually, I've got, saying that, I've got stuff right in front of me here. So if I look at this, yeah, the 2011 core set. So yeah, so I was definitely buying fat packs again 2011, and then ever since, now they're bundles basically. So in addition to that, I was sort of tracking down like early Magic boosters, and I'm pretty sure I opened some core set stuff on all the various core sets from what would have been 4th or 5th edition onwards, and just like almost like random packs that I'd bought. And so I discovered that you could grey resource some of this stuff. What I mean by that is Wizards have a real tight control on distributors and where sealed product ends up. Back then it was a little bit looser, and a few of the brick and mortar stores that had online presence who were a little bit under the radar. And I'm not talking about eBay here or anything like that. I'm talking actually buying them from their actual web stores. A few of them used to have this sort of slightly fudgy rule about sealed product, which was they actually used to ship sealed product if the product wasn't currently in print. So they wouldn't ship anything that was currently being printed. So it's like anything in standard that Wizards were still technically printing. But anything prior to that, they would ship and just see what the consequences were. And at that point, there wasn't really any consequences. Probably most of those stores don't exist anymore. However, you can still buy packs on eBay if you want to take the risk. I don't know if at that point pack mapping or box mapping was a thing. Maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But anyway, it turns out that what had happened was initially I'd started to go through and collect a single pack from each set, because I thought that'd be a really interesting thing to do. And at some point that's going to be a thing. I'm going to go through that as a video at some point, not soon, but it'd be interesting to see. It's a good way of seeing Magic artwork over time. And I've got this collection which is basically just single packs of Magic boosters that I've opened and the cards that I pulled. And that was always going to be, if I got rid of all of my Magic product, that's always be the thing that I would keep as a nostalgia element. But what I then did, when it became apparent that there was a window of Magic product from about 8th edition, so that would be the modern stuff, where there was still quite a bit of stuff. I mean, there was still quite a lot of everything, but the cost on some of the older packs was starting to go up, and I really didn't want to pay more than about, believe it or not, $5 at the time. And most of this stuff was below $5. I think by the time I got around to buying some of the Ravnica stuff, which I bought last, that was beginning to get up. But even then, we're talking about, more than 5 to 6 years ago when I was doing this. So the pack prices were still relatively below $5 a pack. Now it's completely different. And so I don't think at that point modern was really a thing. I mean, they've been talking about it, and I know I was aware of the modern card frame, so that's why I'd sort of use that as a place to start. So I started with 8th edition. 8th edition and mirrored in packs, unfortunately I won't be able to open them on camera. We could always go back retrospectively and look at what I opened, but they were opened for some sealed games that we played in the house. For whatever reason, that we didn't carry on with that. People just lost interest basically. So I've still got Champions of Kamigawa, and going forward, and I think what may have killed it a little bit is trying to play sealed product with this stuff takes quite a lot of knowledge to play well, and so subsequently any sealed stuff we've ever done in the house since has always been using core sets. Occasionally we might get a desire to do a repack stuff and mix it up a bit, but then that in some ways that's a bit more even because you've got no clue about anything. So I have stuff from Kamigawa block through to shards, because after that I started opening obviously Zendikar block and all the core sets. So those sets, and they're in one of two formats. Either they're going to be in the format of, if it's the main set of the block, a what are these called? Tournament decks, that's it. Tournament packs and 2 boosters, or 5 boosters for the case in the smaller sets or the core sets. It was only the large set of the block that they ever printed tournament packs for. I'm not going to go into any detail, but they would plan to be used, how you use them was in combination with other packs from the block for playing sealed basically. So I have this. I'm going to open these over a period of time, and I should be able to get 2 videos out of each set, because the other thing I did was that I did the equivalent of 5 packs. I know it's normally 6 packs for sealed. At some point in Magic's history it has been a pack of these and 2, which is equivalent of 5. So I just bought the minimum I could get away with for basically playing sealed. And because for some of these that never happened, I now have an open Magic product. So what I'm going to do is, not on this video but subsequent videos, we're going to see some of this product, starting with Champions. So thanks for watching. Hopefully the Saturday morning nostalgia aficionados aren't too disappointed. But bye for now, and next video we'll be opening some of this.